Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel the...
Good morning and welcome back to the trailer park. Happy Monday. It is a holiday weekend. Of course, Thanksgiving is this week, so I will not be doing a show on Wednesday because I need the day to cook and clean. You guys know. I know you guys know out there. Hopefully, I'm live on all the channels. So you guys know I'm in my new studio. This is only my second show in the studio, and hopefully you can hear me. Let me know how my sound is. Am I in both channels? It's such a pain, man. It's such a pain. Audio is Satan. We say it every show, but let me make sure that we are live up on the Rumble. I know we are on Rokfin. Yeah, I see us on Rumble. Let's see. Kick. Did you kick it? Kicked it too. Yay, here we go. I've got a huge show because I figured since I'm not doing a show Wednesday, we had a lot to talk about today. So I say it every show. We have a huge deck, but this is probably the biggest deck I've ever brought. I always say that, but this is an 80 slide deck. So there's so much that happened over the weekend. Of course, you know, we got all these damn hot wars all over the world we got to talk about. And, you know, lots of stupid Democrats failing stuff to talk about. Why is my chat not working? Fresh chat. Let's see if that works. Come on. Something went wrong with YouTube. This is my only problem with this is I haven't figured out why. Last show, my chat came through, but here, just let me go into YouTube. Oh, thanks, YouTube. Normally it shows me I'm live. It's not even showing me. Am I not up on trailer? Yeah, there we are. It shows me I'm live. It's not even showing me. Okay, there's my chat. I'm just gonna have to pop it out and light it over to my studio. Oh, come on. And that. Oh. Oh. Don't you hate when stuff doesn't work for you? There we go. Seems to be the story of my life lately. How is everybody out there this Monday morning? Oz, special love out to you. How you doing this morning? Ah, there's Oz. Sounds good. Okay. It's so crazy. I was only in one channel last time, and in order to get both channels working, I had to go into mono. This is upside down world. We live in topsy-turvy, upside down world. Come on. I'm still fighting my chat. Come on. You know, when you're trying to get that little arrow in the corner so you can make it smaller. Oh, and the arrow keeps disappearing. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, where put my chat to where I can. Oh, okay, I'll put it. That sucks, man. That sucks. I have to have my chat there. I can't just look at it. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can get my slide deck brought in. We'll get this show on the road. You guys can tell I'm dragging. I picked up a cold on Saturday. Remember my eye was running all Saturday, Beauty and the Boomer show? Yeah, it turned into a cold. So I spent most of yesterday fighting it, and I took a bunch of Sudafed. Now today I feel all groggy and blah. But I'm going to conquer through. I always get sick for the holidays. It's a tradition. It's a holiday tradition. So I'm just sucking it up. If my voice is scratchy today, I apologize. Fair use. We are on YouTube this morning. So you know what that means. I am merely giving my opinion. These are my opinions, my speculation. If you're interested in anything I'm talking about, please go do your research because I merely scratch the surface. Hey, if you want to help me out and buy me a coffee, that would be awesome. Holidays are kicking my butt, but good news. I got a $20 gift card from the food bank, so I'm going to go pick up a turkey today. So we are going to have turkey. I pretty much thought I was just going to cancel Thanksgiving altogether. My youngest daughter has to work, so she can't bring the grandkids over. Her and her husband have to work, so... And then, but I'm the matriarch of the family, so everybody ends up at my house regardless. So I end up cooking whether I want to cancel Thanksgiving or not. I'm sure my son will show up, my brother will show up, my stepdad, you know, the wayward souls out there come to me to eat. So no matter what, I end up cooking. So I got to go grocery shopping after this because I need time to thaw out a turkey and I don't want to have to put it in the bathtub like I've had to do in years before. I think we're starting out the deck with Fee says. Wow, look at Fee. Fee's getting front page today. But you know, anytime that I'm gonna have Fee on now, I've got to play the Russian anthem. That's Fee's new anthem. What do you guys think? The whole reason I moved to this deck was so I could Oh, I love the sound effects. What do you guys think? Sound effects good? Yay, no. Anyways, Fiorel says, okay, so this is an awkward moment at, of course, the APEC meeting, which had President Biden and Xi Jinping in San Francisco. We've talked about it a lot this week because, of course, they cleared out the homeless, which we're going to talk about further down in the deck. But Biden, momentarily doing his shit, decides that he needs to go speak to Xi Jinping, even though there's no translator there. And here it is. Jill said he could spend the night. I'm gonna go tell him. Hey, Jill said she could spend the night. You want to come to White House for a sleepover? That's what I see when I see that. I'm just like, he's like a little kid who can't control his impulses. He's got to run over there. Oh my gosh, I got to talk to him. You know, this whole APEC meeting speaks huge fucking volumes as to where we are at globally, right? Because we sent Gavin Newsom over there to China, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And you know he was begging Xi Jinping, please come to San Francisco. We got to talk to you, because the shit libs who have been in control, along with the fucking neocons who decided that they needed a fucking hot war with Russia and China, are now backpedaling and rethinking that because it didn't work as well as they thought it was going to be. You know, they were just going to give Ukraine all this money and it was going to bust Russia. And then China was just going to blow off Russia because, hey, you guys are losers. But that's not what happened. China and Russia's economies are doing great from what we hear. Well, China's not as much as Russia, but Russia's economy is doing great. So, you know, the fact that Xi Jinping, our supposed enemy. I mean, don't forget that these fucking shit libs, the DNC, has been telling us that China's our enemy for the last 3 years, right? The chip act, right? Oh, we've got to take the chips away from China. We have to manufacture them here at home. That caused a lot of fucking problems. Not to mention the global war for gas and oil that is going on. And guess who happens to have resources that we do not? Both Russia and China. So I think that this was a way of ass kissing, like, please come to America. I swear we're doing better. You know, Xi Jinping was just like, whatever. Let me shout out the chat real fast now that the chat's actually here. Hey, Rick, what's up? Good morning. Hi, Popeye. Or good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is where you're watching. Red Angel made it. The Impian. Why do I always get that wrong? Let's see who else is in here. Oz the Boomer, of course. Kate's here. Good morning, Kate. Hi, Jilly. Cowboy Kitty. Cowboy Kitty. I'm gonna get my cat a cowboy hat now. I have to. Like, you've got that in my head now. I gotta get one. Anthony. Good morning, Anthony. And everybody else that's in the chats. Of course, we are up on the YouTube, the Rokfin, the Rumble, wherever you're watching. Hi, Corky82 over on the Rumble and Rokfin. Tim Paradaway's hanging out over there, along with, who else is over here? I saw Popeye over there. Jim. Hi, Jim. Kate, you're everywhere. Of course, Popeye was first through the door. So thank you so much for coming in and joining me on this cold Monday morning. It was cold here this morning. I don't know about you, but it was cold. Okay, so why is my slide deck not working now? Oh, there it goes. Always something. So this is a follow-up. Let's see. I swear I thought I was just buying Viagra from the Chinese. They said, you give us money, we fix erection for you. That's kind of funny. That is kind of funny. Here's another Xi Jinping. Oh, who's he hanging out with? Who did they bring in to hang out with Xi Jinping? Oh, Tim Cook, the head of Apple. Steven Schwartzman, Blackstone. Of course, Blackstone would be there. BlackRock, Blackstone, Black whatever. Larry Fink, BlackRock. Daniel O'Day, MasterCard, Merritt Joanne. FedEx is there. Bridgewater Associates. Now, these are the movers and shakers that rule the world. So, of course, they would be there, right? That's who Xi Jinping was in town to see. I promise you, it wasn't fucking Biden. You have to look at who's in control of the money. And it's not the Biden administration, I can tell you that. But they were smart to bring in their buddies to back them up, right? God, I wish I could get this working. Come. Refresh that. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get my chat to work because I can't get your input, and I hate that. I hate that I can't see my chat. I don't know. I could. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm settled now. I feel a little discombobulated this morning. That's what happens when you take a Sudafed, man. Fucks your world up. Okay, let's talk about Gaza. Let's talk about numbers. I brought you guys a number update. So this is 4 days old. Of course, we are in day 44 of the Israel war on Gaza, and that's exactly what it is. This is from day 40, but you can see killed 15,271. 6,403 of those are children. 3,561 are women. 13,690 are civilians. Displaced, over a million displaced. 1.5 million easy. I mean, these numbers are insane. Destroyed industrial facilities, 821. Have you guys seen the insane videos of them blowing up the mosques and the infrastructure there? They literally blew up the office to rebuild Gaza. I mean, if that's not targeted, I don't know what is. They've targeted 117 health facilities. Targeted health staff 413, damaged mosques 75, damaged churches because hey, they're not sparing the Christians either. Get rid of them, and there's very few Christians left in Gaza when there used to be quite a few. Murdered journalists 49 murdered journalists, and the world's not saying a fucking word about this. The media's not saying a word about this. We see CNN there. We see a ton of propaganda coming from CNN, but that's all it is. You don't see any real news agencies in there. And if there is real news agencies in there, they got a big freaking bullseye on their back. And we know that. We've seen it firsthand since day one of this. Yay, my chat is working. Rad Angel, why are you the only one in it? Our trailer park owner once hired Blackstone to manage us. Oh my God. Are you for real? Yeah, I would not be shocked. Blackstone's been buying up everything from coast to coast, including the trailer parks. Because, hey, the trailer parks, they are fucking money makers. My trailer park right here makes probably, I would say, there's 30 units in here. Each one's $600. You guys do the math on that. I mean, that guy is clean every 30 fucking days. That guy is cleaning up. We used to have a really nice guy that was a local owner, but now we're owned by a retired dentist from Seattle who never comes in here but once a year to bitch about stuff he doesn't like. He'll drive through and everybody gets all in a tizzy. The landlord's coming. We got to clean up our yards, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, I always work on my yard anyways, but I'm not shocked. Blackstone's buying up the trailer parks, and they know they're a moneymaker, and they know that the poor will be stuck in those trailer parks forever. I mean, if you're making $180,000 a year, you're barely qualifying to buy a fucking house right now anywhere in the goddamn country. So if you're making a minimum wage, or $2 over, $1 over, don't you feel special if you're making over $2 over minimum wage, right? They hold that, oh, look at you, you're above the rest. And yeah, rent right now is fucking insane. If that alone doesn't kill the Democrats, I don't know what will. Not that the Republicans are going to help us out with that, right? Because they're all about the capitalism and making money. So we're just screwed on a major level when it comes to housing, and we all freaking know it. Let's move the deck. You guys see this? So, Yemen Houthis claim to have hijacked Israel's ship in the Red Sea, Jerusalem. It isn't Israel. So, okay, so the mainstream media is trying to say that this is not an Israel ship. Well, I've seen proof to the contrary that it is, all of these companies have shell companies and shell companies and shell companies. They never want you to know who owns shit, right? So if the Yemen Houthis targeted this ship, there was a reason. There is video out there of them taking the ship. Richie Medhurst just tweeted it out, I'd say 20 minutes ago. And of course, NBC Fact Check says, that's not an Israel ship. Bullshit. Bullshit, it isn't. But let's look at how much trade goes through there. So, professional hog groomer. I like professional hog groomer. Marine shipping accounts for 80% of the world's trades in goods. So 80% of our goods are moving on ships. A full 12% of those ships pass through the Suez Canal. The southern end of the Suez is accessed via the Red Sea, which in turn is accessed via the Baba el Mambi, a construction less than 30 kilometers across at its narrowest. So yeah, I don't think this will be the last ship we see them grabbing. Look at that. Of course, FedEx and those guys are hanging out at the Xi Jinping Apex meeting. They're about money. They're not, I mean, yeah, they want power. Don't get me wrong. They want power, but they have power. Do you think Xi Jinping or Putin wants to be president of the world? No, they want to make money. They want their countries to be prosperous. So it's more about the almighty corporate dollar at the end of the day than it is about the power grab, unlike our politicians, right? Our politicians are a little bit of both. Caitlin Johnstone, she's had a lot to say, and man, I love her for it. 15 things you should have to say to a country. Yeah. Oh, you should never have to say. Okay. 15 things you should never have to say to a country. 1, stop bombing children. 2, stop killing journalists. 3, don't bomb hospitals. 4, don't shoot patients through their hospital windows. Yeah, that's a big one, right? 5, don't bulldoze over dead bodies. Oh, yeah. That's a little known around the world. 6, don't bomb ambulances. 7, don't ethnically cleanse. 8, don't call humans animals. 9, don't starve people. 10, don't cut off the people's water. 11, don't cut off the electricity at hospitals, killing their ICU and their neonatal ICU patients. 12, don't bomb doctors. 13, don't bomb UN staff. It is the UN though. 14, don't do apartheid. And 15, stop constantly lying about it and propagandize us. We see it. This little cartoon here kind of says it all. Any last words, right? It has been reported now that every single NICU baby that was in the incubators that the power went out on has now died. But hey, we saw the IDF unhauling a bunch of incubators when they got to the Al Sharif hospital, the one with all the tunnels under it, right? But it turns out that Israel built those goddamn tunnels in the 80s, and Hamas says they filled them, and there's kind of proof that they filled them. There's a lot of concrete in there, right? But they show us the top of the holes, and they go, oh, look, we found one of their tunnels today. Okay, I'm buying it today because I didn't buy it yesterday. I mean, that is where we're at. But it's so sad that all of those, can you imagine? Mom is blown up. Mom's got, been killed. And they save the baby. They do an emergency C-section. And they save the baby. And now the baby, who is fine, is dying because it has no incubator. And the fucked up thing about this, guys, is this is exactly what took us to war with Iraq. Remember the little girl who lied and testified to Congress that I saw them take the babies out of the incubators and put them on the floor, which was a total absolute lie, 100% a lie. But here we are. And this is actually happening. And yeah, nobody seems to care in the mainstream media, right? I mean, we did see sorry guys, I told you I have a cold. We did see both the BBC and CNN starting to call out the IDF just a little bit. But you have to question it when you see it, right? Like, why are they, why? Why? I want to know why. You know, that's the first thing I think when I see Mockingbird Media, Legacy Media, starting to call these guys out. Is the tide changing? I don't know yet. Will it change? I think it will. I think there's enough pressure. We can change it, but I don't think that's what the mainstream media is doing. I'm not sure what they're doing. Maybe they are setting up the narrative to get rid of Benjamin Netanyahu, because I absolutely think they're going to get rid of him. It is very clear that everybody thinks his regime needs to go, right? Especially the people in Israel. They knew it before this all happened, and I'm sure he's got his diehard supporters. But in the grand scheme of things, he could go the fuck away. You know, those in control will be like, you're kind of controversial. You've been very outspoken with your genocide. Maybe you retire, go live somewhere nice. You can go to Miami, whatever, right? Isn't that where his son is? His son's in Miami. And we'll get a new puppet in here, because they are all puppets. They're all puppets, guys. If they're in control of a country, if they're in control of anything, they're a puppet. We talk about this constantly. Speaking of puppets, former Putin puppet, but now Israel puppet, Tulsi Gabbard, is out there spreading hate and fear again. Do you guys see this?
When you hear these massive numbers of people coming into our country, and Joe is letting them in from Syria, Iran, Russia, China, and China is buying up thousands of acres of farmland, thousands of acres of ranch land, thousands of acres near military installations. And you look at Joe Biden's policies on the border, giving up energy security, law and order. You see this chaos abroad. Tulsi, what has happened to the party you once called home? Is there any of this that you agree with? Because I don't think you do.
Now. No, this is one of the main reasons, Sean, that I left the Democrat Party. It is clear, and it has been for some time, that they don't care about the safety, security, or freedom of the American people, and they have become apologists for these Islamist jihadists. And Sean, I got to tell you, for those like me, the many Americans like me who enlisted in the military because of the 9/11 jihadist terrorist attack on us, this is incredibly offensive. You know.
Okay, I'm going to pause that there because I want to point something out. She believes the narrative from 9/11. Osama bin Laden attacked us. So in order to have this ideology, this stance, you have to actually 100% believe the propaganda. Now, who in the United States, other than these sellouts, actually fucking believes that we were attacked by ISIS or, you know, whatever they called them for that week? And we know who supports these groups, who started these groups, where these groups came from. The CIA, right? What the fuck, Tulsi, is all I gotta say. Let's finish it.
Now, I've deployed 3 times to war zones in the Middle East and in Africa. I know how serious this threat of Islamist jihadism is. The Democrat elite, they don't care. They don't care. They leave our borders wide open, which we know are being exploited by these Islamist terrorists. And they redirect our security infrastructure, our assets, our intel assets, not towards focusing on these terror threats that are coming through our borders and elsewhere. They're focusing them on fellow Americans. They're focusing them on people who they have deemed as domestic terrorism threats or extremists, also known as people who are supporters of President Donald Trump or conservatives. And I want to point out, really, Sarah mentioned this, but most importantly, we know that Iran has sleeper terrorist cells here in America. And unlike the Al-Qaeda, these terrorist sleeper cells have the access and capability and may have already brought in nuclear material into this country, waiting to be activated. And if used, could launch an attack here, right here at home, that would make 9/11 look small in comparison. So the graveness of the threats that we face right now, Sean, because of the failures of this administration, the Democrat elite, because they do not care about us, our safety, or our security, this is what we're facing.
Ugh, That was so gross. But she's not wrong about the Biden administration just destroying us at the border. 5 years ago on this very day, I was in Arizona at the border to support SOA Watch, which is the School of the Americas Watch, right? They're there to shut down the School of the Americas, which has been changed. The name has been changed to something else, but don't think for 1 second it isn't still going on. And of course, this is where we brought them in and trained them for the death squads. I mean, so much of what's happened in the global south has been because of the School of the Americas, aka the CIA, right? I want to say even Pete Buttigieg went to the School of the Americas or was associated with it at some point. But and back then I was screaming about, migrants need a path to immigrate. We're a country that is founded by migrants and immigrants. So what the hell are we doing not letting people in? But at this point, the way we have just opened the full fucking border up and anybody can come in, that's not what we were screaming about. Much like defund the police, right? They slap you with it. Oh yeah, we'll give it to you. But it's going to be such an extreme. And now I'm like, hey guys, we need to do something about the border. Like, we're not tracking these people. Did you guys see the testimony in Congress last week where they asked the head person for refugee relocation, who's head of the refugee relocation department, where 55 or 58,000 kids are? And she goes, I don't know. And the lady goes, well, why did you even take this job if you don't care? And she's like, because I'm a humanitarian. And she's like, oh, you're a humanitarian, but you don't give two shits about where all these kids have gone in our country that have came in. The lady was like, why are you so rude to me? I mean, that's like, what in the fuck? Of course, we're giving them each phones, which the government is fucking passing out phones right now, left and right. If you are on food stamps right now, if you are on a medical assist program, I know they're different from state to state. Washington State has Apple, but it doesn't. If you qualify for any of these programs, hey, you can get a free government phone, and they are nice phones. Let me tell you, I went and got my mother-in-law one last week, and you get more data than what I get when I pay for it. The phone does all kinds of shit, but here's the thing: how much tracking information is built into that damn phone? Just like the government spending card that Social Security gave you, because, well, you used to get your check and then you go and you cash it wherever, the check cashing place, whatever, and they couldn't track what you were spending and what you were buying. So I don't know, about 8 years ago, they sent out these nice little government issued cards that doesn't work like a bank account, but it kind of does, and they can track all your spending. But here's the kicker: you're not allowed to use it certain fucking places. Try to use it to pull cash out at the weed store. Oh, nope. This is not allowed. You are in an establishment that we so do not support. You cannot pull cash out. Try to buy cigarettes or alcohol with it. Nope, you're not allowed to buy cigarettes or alcohol with it. You'll have to go pull the money off at a regular ATM or get cash back and then go buy your cigarettes and alcohol. So they're controlling your habits with it and they're tracking your spending. But that's just the beginning of it, because we know CBDCs are getting ready to roll out. They're already tracking everything we buy and spend via all these accounts that we have, right? PayPal, Cash App, your bank account. It don't fucking matter. They know everything you're doing. Every little thing you buy from Amazon, they know it. Those dildos that you ordered, mail order, they know it. I'm telling you, they know everything. Let's see what this is. Israel has a right to defend itself and slaughter Palestinians, and it's crossed out. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is, make this bigger. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah, made bigger. So this is a death toll, starting in 2008. I'll give you the finals once it's done. That's insane. But Israel has a right to defend itself. Wow. It was 161,000 to 6,000. Not even comparable at all, right? Oh, I still have my slide deck up. Good. Jason Burmis. Did you guys see that Kurt Metzger was hanging out with Jason Burmis over at Red Voice Media? Now, what is Red Voice Media? I'm taking it's some right-wing independent media site that Burmis is with now, or has been with for, I think, a year now, actually. And of course, I've watched him over there. The Mike Lindell pillow commercials drive me a little batty, but hey, you got to do what you got to do when you're in this field to, get a little coin. So I don't blame Jason for it. But Jason brings up such a great point, and if you have never seen any of Jason Burmis's documentaries, please go check his Rokfin out. I think he's got all of his 3 major ones over there for free. Of course, Loose Change is the one where he's dealing with 9/11. He did such an amazing job on that documentary that it still is great to this day, and I think he plays a little bit of it for Kurt. Let's see, bring the big duck in for you guys.
Muslim extremism seemed to show its ugly face in then unprecedented fashion on February 26, 1993. A truck bomb had gone off in the parking area of the World Trade Center. Luckily, the bombers failed to follow instructions and parked the truck carrying the explosives against the main support column. What is not discussed, however, is the bomb was actually built by an FBI informant under the supervision of the FBI. Ahmed Salam, a former Egyptian army officer who had been doing undercover work for the FBI, was the man who actually built the bomb. When he was told that he would have to use real bomb-making material instead of harmless substitutes, he became suspicious and began taping his conversations with FBI officials.
Last winter, the FBI was praised for its speed in cracking the case of the World Trade Center bombing and bringing 4 suspects to trial. Now, there is some evidence that the FBI may have known of the plot in advance through an informant and might even have stopped the bombing that killed 6 people.
Notice the media emphasizes that they might have been able to stop it. They then gloss over the fact that the bomb was built by their agent under FBI supervision in conjunction with the district attorney.
FBI agents might have been able to prevent last February's deadly explosion at New York's World Trade Center. They discussed secretly substituting harmless powder for the explosives, but they didn't, according to the FBI's own informant, Imad Salem. Unbeknownst to the FBI at the time, Salem recorded many of his conversations with his handlers.
The actual recording where Salam discusses this with his FBI handler, John Antisev, was released years after the trial.
You got paid regularly for good information. I mean, the expenses were a little bit out of the ordinary, and it was really questioned. Don't tell Nancy I told you this.
Well, I have to tell her, of course.
Well, then if you have to, you have to.
Yeah, because, I mean, the lady was being honest, and I was being honest, and everything was submitted with a receipt.
Yeah.
And now it's questionable.
It's not questionable. It's like a little out of ordinary.
Okay.
All
right. I don't think it was. If that's what you think, guys, fine. But I don't think that, because we was start already building the bomb, which is went off in the World Trade Center. It was built by supervision from the Bureau and the GA, and we was all informed about it, and we know that the bomb start to be built. Wow. By who? By your confidential informant. What a wonderful, great case.
I mean, the guy just told you he built the bomb with the FBI and the DA, and they talked about substituting. In other words, the blind sheikh and those guys couldn't even build a fucking bomb. They need the FBI to do it.
I thought it was a great story of a man overcoming a handicap, but it turns out the FBI had it. Yeah, well, I told you a while back I looked up, I wanted to see what the most terrorism was, because it was a hot button issue years and years ago, as you recall. And there was a lot of arguments of like, who's a terrorist and well, white, and so I'm expecting to see Islamic and not, white. Because it was like, is it white or before? Anyway, I look it up. It's eco-terrorism. I go, what? What the fuck is he? Like 12 monkeys? I don't remember that
bunker.
case.
You guys see
I look
that?
it up and then
he's in his dumb. He's in his deep underground base. That was a great interview. I think it was like an hour or 2 long. I love Kurt. A lot of people don't like Kurt. Like why do you always interrupt Jimmy? But I think that Kurt is very, very, very well versed in the conspiracies, the shit that's really going on in the world, right? And he does a good job with that. So I love listening to him. In the beginning, I was like, I don't know about this guy. Let's see. Oh, let's talk propaganda because there's so much propaganda out there. I got some great propaganda for you guys. Let's start out with this one. They have got a problem. They can't control the young generation with propaganda, and they are losing their shit over it. So let's check it out. Stream Deck big. There.
This is Jonathan Greenblatt, and he's the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, and you need to hear what he said on a phone call. He's very, very, very concerned about the younger generation being brainwashed by social media, and TikTok is a huge fear of his. They have always had the power to spread misinformation and propaganda, and of course the media co-signs it, and before this app existed, it was very hard to get the truth out.
I also want to point out that we have a generational problem. All the polling I've seen, ADL's polling, ICC's polling, independent polling, suggests this is not a left-right gap, folks. The issue in the United States of support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And the numbers of young people who think that Hamas's, massacre was justified is shockingly and terrifyingly high. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Taglit, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this, fast. Because again, we've been chasing this left-right divide. It's the wrong game.
It's the wrong game, guys.
The real game is the next generation. And the Hamas and their accomplices, the useful idiots in the West, are falling in line in ways that are terrifying. Last thing I'll just say, we saw a dramatic change in the language of the activists here in America on October the 8th. The language of groups that we've long tracked, who've long been problematic, like Students for Justice in Palestine and Jewish Voices for Peace, they flipped like this and went to Iranian propaganda. The language I could show you from their toolkits, because our analysts are in their groups.
Our
we saw this again on October the 8th. It was that fast. The language in their toolkits was all about the Zionist entity.
Oh, they're so sad. TikTok is totally screwing up their propaganda campaign. Even though they've got handlers inside there. They can't get the message out fast enough to the young, and the young are not listening to it. This is not a left-right divide. This is an old-young divide, and we have been saying that for years. It depends on where you're getting your information as to what you believe, right? If you're out there just on the internet looking for information, you tend to have a little bit better information than those sitting and watching the Mockingbird legacy media. And we know that. We've always known that. CNN, this is CNN World, CNN analysis video suggests the IDF might have rearranged weaponry at the Al-Sharif prior to news crews visiting. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, just prior? What? No way. They would never do that. I brought the video a couple of days ago where they are at the hospital and they go, oh, look at all these guns that we found in this truck. What we mean in this hospital, right? So I brought you a couple of different examples of the propaganda that we're seeing. And let's start out with this guy. I know I'm a little clunky. I will get better with this studio. Be patient with me.
There is a list. This list in Arabic.
Sunday, Monday,
Hamas.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Hamas.
Thursday, Friday,
Hamas. 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 Hamas.
Okay, so I brought you guys that video when it happened in real time, and they were trying to say it was a shift list of the Hamas soldiers and who was going to go on patrol next. It was a calendar. It was just a calendar. Oh my gosh, the propaganda is strong with these ones. So I brought you guys a bunch of funny memes that go with this. Let's see. Hamas uses this to produce solar energy. Yeah, the sun, of course. Breaking, Hamas dropped the meteorite on Earth, which caused the extinction of the dinosaurs, and this is proof. yeah, sure it is. Oh, did you guys see this? Oh my gosh, she spoofs him, and this is the funny, SNL, you suck compared to TikTok nowadays. That's all I'm gonna say. SNL sucks compared to TikTok. TikTok can always do it better, and here's an example of TikTok doing it better than SNL.
I think here this is the most important piece of evidence that we have against Hamas here. As you can see, this is a dress that civilians wear. What is this, you may ask? Hamas tunnels. This is a map of Hamas tunnels. You can see here, they all wear it, and Hamas finds where the tunnels is.
Yeah, I feel like this is just some normal dress design.
Are you Do you want Israel to die? Is this what you're saying?
Oh.
Cut! Bro, give me another reporter. What the fuck? What this says, whenever we come close to their tunnels, as you can see, it senses and it says Allah Akbar. Listen to this. Allah Akbar.
Oh,
It says Allah Akbar.
That looks like a normal fire alarm to me.
Cut! I told you to get me another reporter. What is this?
Very funny. Very funny, because that's exactly what we're seeing. It is straight up propaganda. These videos about the tunnels and in the hospital and look at the gun stashes. Remember the one with the MRI machine? Nobody in their right fucking mind would stash weapons next to an MRI machine because everything gets sucked into it because it's a giant fucking magnet. Did the IDF guys not know that before they started filming? They're like, oh, this room's good. Yeah, we'll just see. Everybody knows what an MRI machine looks like, so we'll just say it was in here. Use your brains, man. Propaganda is strong lately, and these are cute.
This is one of the senior terrorists who is the head of the Now I want to show you an operational tunnel. The tunnel is built with electricity. We first saw the solar panels, then the electricity goes here, and it goes down directly to the tunnel.
Oh my gosh, those are too funny. Keep it up. Keep trolling them. Trolling and shitposting is the only power I think we truly have. I really think that is our force right now, right? Let's see. What is this one? You can see here the Hamas tunnels leading to the underground, these buildings. yeah, I'm sure. Hamas via the FBI. Let's see. Oh my gosh. This is the worst propaganda I've seen yet, right? We saw the propaganda this weekend where they took all the hostages' faces, the Israeli hostages, and they put their faces on yoga mats, and then the IDF went and did the downward dog on top of them to prove that we love our hostages. At the same time that Benjamin Netanyahu is turning down a peace deal that would have gave us a 5-day ceasefire and released like 70 plus of the hostages. No, we can't do that. But we're going to virtue signal that we care about the hostages, even though we've been blowing them up and killing them. And we're going to talk about the rave. That's somewhere down on the deck. But yeah, we're not buying it. But check this out. If this isn't 100% Aryan Nation youth, I don't know what is. Play. Rosebomb Communications. That is called the friendship song. Did that sound like friendship at all? Like, we're going to annihilate you, and when everybody's dead, we're going to come back in a year, and we're going to plow over your bodies and move back into our homes. That was the message. And yes, that is real. If you're buffering, it's probably you. I think my internet's okay right now. And yeah, sometimes the clips come in hot, Julie. I'm trying to monitor them as they come in. You guys know I'm using banana voice meter now, which means I literally have to control every bit of sound that's coming through. That is just 100% propaganda. They should be ashamed to do that to their own children, but they don't. You know, we saw this with Ukraine too, right? Just disgusting level of propaganda. When I saw that, I was like, holy fucking propaganda, Batman. Like, that is bad. And then the part where they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to come bulldoze over you. Like, you're just going to bulldoze over all the dead bodies. That's where we're at. In the meantime, so Israel's kids are singing about bulldozing your dead bodies in a year. And in the meantime, where is Palestine's children? Locked in prison. Let's see. Make that bigger. There we go. So, disturbing report reveals that hundreds of Palestinian children are being tied up in Israel's military courts. Witnesses describe a distressing sight of a conveyor belt of convicted children. Check it out.
After interrogation, children are brought here for trial. Ophir military prison near Jerusalem. The army would not let Four Corners film inside. I've been behind these walls 3 times. I saw children shuffling across the courtyard, handcuffed and shackled. Some hearings lasted 60 seconds. I saw one boy shout the name of his prison so his mother would know where he was being held. I saw the judge convict some children without even once looking at them. Through it all, what I saw was a conveyor belt of convicted children.
I think perhaps to give you some indication of how efficient, from a military perspective, this system is. According to the military court's own records, their annual report, the courts have a conviction rate of around 99.74%.
Typically, a Palestinian boy convicted of throwing stones will be sentenced to about 3 months imprisonment. The United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, last year released a scathing report on Israel's system. It found that Palestinian children had been threatened with death, physical violence, solitary confinement and sexual assault against themselves or a family member.
The report found that ill treatment was widespread, systematic and institutionalized throughout the system from the moment that the child was arrested right up until the sentencing process.
Last month, under pressure from human rights groups, Israel stopped the long-standing practice of keeping children overnight in outdoor cages. Children had been kept freezing in the cages during snowstorms.
Isn't that terrible? Terrible. But, you know, we don't have any high ground to stand on here in the United States because we're not doing much better. I mean, yeah, we're not kidnapping kids from another country and locking them up, but we're locking our own kids up in a system that's just as broken as our adult prison system is. And I know I've been through it with my own kids, and I couldn't imagine these poor moms where they're screaming out the names of the prison that they're at so that way mom knows where they're at. We do about the same shit here. I mean, we don't tell parents where their kids are. They don't have a right. Once they're a ward of the state, they're a ward of the state. Let's see. I lost Rumble. Let's see if I can bring it back up. My Rumble glitched out on me. It said is not available. Like what? Did Rumble go down, guys? I think Rumble's down. If you're watching on the Rumble, I don't know how you're still there. Maybe switch over to the Rokfin. Wasn't me, man. Yeah, it wasn't me. I think Rumble got knocked out. I don't know. I don't think it's me because everything else is working. I think maybe Rumble's got a problem. Rumble has a problem. In the meantime, though, where's Benjamin Netanyahu's son? Well, we know where he's at, right? Should he be deported from America? What do you guys think? Should he have to suit up and go fight with the rest of the Israeli children that are being forced to fight. And oh my God, some of those videos that we've seen are just horrific. You know, they have a large amount of young women fighting for them. We know they love to sexualize the IDF, right? Like, oh, look at how hot the IDF is. Well, at the end of the day, they're still fucking women. And we're set up differently to process the things that we see and we deal with in life, unlike men. And I've seen these IDF women just losing their shit, bawling their eyes out, like, you know, and a lot of people joke, oh, yeah, go ahead and fight the women, you know, the women of the IDF. And I'm not talking shit about women, but I also am, I know that men are built different. They, you know, than women when it comes to war. Their upper body strength, the way they process stuff is totally different. We'll see how this female force of IDF fighters holds out for them. What is? Look at it together. Fake Due Dissidence says, oh, this is the rave. Okay, so you remember the rave where Israel keeps screaming we got to go to war because they bombed our rave? And how many talking head pundits have we seen out there for the last 44 days? Oh my God, they killed all these kids at a rave. We have to go annihilate them. Well, it turns out, and we've been saying this since day one, how did all those cars get burned up and bombed? It looked like a fucking wildfire dew went through the parking lot, burned all those cars down. Well, turns out Israel might have accidentally friendly fired on its own people. Yeah, we've been telling you that for 40 days now, but the mainstream media is starting to catch up with it a little bit.
Now, an Israeli newspaper is reporting that an Israeli army helicopter may have fired on partygoers at the dance festival that was attacked by Hamas fighters on October the 7th. More than 360 people were killed at the festival in southern Israel. Haaretz is quoting an unnamed police source citing an investigation. Well, according to the paper, a combat helicopter arriving at the scene fired on Hamas fighters and apparently also hit some festival participants. Salhout, she's in occupied East Jerusalem for us. So pretty extraordinary revelations, Hamda. Talk to us about this investigation that's being reported.
Well, a few different findings in this police report that was leaked by an official to Haaretz. The first one was that Hamas's attack on the Nova Music Festival on October 7th was not premeditated, and there wasn't really a way for them to have prior knowledge about the festival, specifically on that Saturday, because the organizers for the event requested an extension of the party. So it was actually only supposed to be held on Thursday and Friday, but after approval from the army, it was also extended to Saturday. The second revelation was that an Israeli attack helicopter that was dispatched to shoot on Hamas fighters at the scene may have apparently killed some Israelis fleeing the area as well. And the third thing that it mentions, the security officials are now sure in their assertion, according to the sources in the Haaretz piece, that there were around 4,400 festival goers and that the party actually ended once the red alert sirens and interceptions were heard overhead, and that the gunfire happened 30 minutes later. So in the beginning stages, when the rocket fire was happening, that's actually when most of the people began to flee. And then 30 minutes after is when the exchanges of fire started to happen.
So there you go. Al Jazeera saying what we've been saying to you guys for 4 weeks now. I mean, it was clear to see on the video that we did see that Israel was firing on its own people. And I love the point of maybe this is why they don't want the hostages back. Because maybe they'll tell the truth that you shot at us when you should have been protecting us. So Deepfake Dissident says, does anyone actually believe that apartheid Israel government who kept Gaza under siege for 16 years doesn't monitor all the communications in and out of Gaza? Unit 8200 is monitoring this communication now. Why then did the IDF approve an extension of the rave through Saturday, October 7th. Now, remember, they extended this rave an extra damn day at the last damn minute, and the IDF had to have approved that. So, more proof that they knew what was going on, that this was a, planned attack. Be it that they let him in, right? They had to have an excuse. So hand in hand, they all work together. Normal Finkelstein's been out there on fire lately. Let's see. God, he's been on so many shows. He even did Candace Owens' last show before she went on maternity leave. I think I brought you a clip for that, but I have a couple of different Norman clips for you guys because he says everything we're thinking, doesn't he? He sure does. And of course, I put him on the Hartman slide because Hartman needs to learn a thing or two. So listen up, Hartman.
And I would put the question to you, do you support the dismantling of Hamas?
So, let's take a simple case. About 1,400 people, according to Israeli figures, about 1,400 people were killed on October 7th. Of those, about 350 were soldiers. If you look at the figures for, let's say, Operation Cast Lead, it's about the same. 1,400 people killed in Operation Cast Lead, about a quarter of them Hamas militants. It's roughly the same. So, if you're of the opinion that because of what Hamas did on October 7th, it has to be destroyed, not just dismantled, it has to be destroyed. That, by the way, is Bernie Sanders' position. I acknowledge that. Then, by that reasoning, the Israeli government has to be dismantled and destroyed. Now, that's just one massacre. See, that's just one. Because Israel likes to periodically mow the lawn. In Operation Protect... I thought you were going to answer the question. I'm answering the question. I'm saying if Hamas has to be dismantled because of what it did on October 7th, then if you take Operation Cast Lead, Operation Pillar of Defense, Operation Protective Edge, then the Israeli government has to be dismantled 10 times over.
I follow you, but it's not really an answer to the question.
Oh, it is an answer to the question.
Because
it's called keeping a single standard.
No, it's
you want to talk about the 290 Israeli hostages? I say fine. But then let's talk about the 2,300,000 Gaza hostages. Gaza. Oh, yes, Gaza. Hamas is closing the gates. If you want to decide that Hamas has to be dismantled because of what it did on October 7th, I say fine. But then the Israeli government has to also be dismantled because for 20 years, it's kept the whole population confined in a concentration camp. I don't understand it. And periodically,
I get you.
And periodically mows the lawn. Comedy may be your forte, but the suffering of humanity has been what I've been about since I came onto this earth. Now and I am not.
Are you going to let me answer?
I am not going to trivialize the fact that 1,100,000 children in Gaza are now the object of a genocide.
Oh, I need the Howard Dean. Woo! I'm going to get that on my hot deck because I love it when Norman Finkelstein goes off, puts somebody in their place. And his point of we don't have a single standard. Can we hold it to a single standard? No, we live in the height of hypocrisy, right? Do as I say, not as I do. We don't hold a single standard for anybody. And I love that he pointed that out as a single standard. Okay, I've got one more here. This is his stopover at Candace Owens. And I'm not a huge Candace Owens fan. There's been plenty of things that I disagree with her on. But I got to tell you, for the last couple of years, she just puts it out there plain and simple and in your face. Not that I'm a fan, but I appreciate what she has to say. And she's not leaving the Daily Wire from what we hear, even though her and Ben Shapiro are, are going at it over the Zionism because he's king of the Zionists. And apparently she's just going to go on maternity leave. It's going to blow over. She has a good relationship with the people that are in control at the Daily Wire. So she still has a platform as far as I know.
At the risk of offending some people in the audience, and maybe that's why I react as I do when I see these things unfold before my eyes. It's as complicated as Jews, like my parents' mother on both sides, father on both sides, sisters and brothers on both sides. It's as complicated as my family, except for my mother and my father, being shoved into gas chambers. That's how complicated it is in my eyes. That government in Israel, in cahoots with our own government, spread the lies about Hamas's command and control center to justify denying the fuel for the incubators.
Yes, exactly. That is an excellent point. I love that. You know, Norman, he was a Bernie supporter, right? Do you guys remember him being out on the Bernie campaign? I do. And makes me sad. He fell for it too. We all fell for that cuck. Oh my gosh. And he hasn't shut up. He's still out there saying the same stupid shit he's always been saying. This one might surprise you. Okay, so I have two clips here. And one of these is from a former late White House correspondent, Helen Thomas. Do you guys remember Helen Thomas? She was the one that wore the really heavy makeup, and like she was a battle axe of a White House correspondent. And so and I'm not sure what the first clip is, but we'll figure it out.
I think the chapter or the section of the book where we talk about this charge of anti-Semitism is called The Great Silencer. That's what we call the charge of anti-Semitism, the Great Silencer. Who wants to be called an anti-Semite, especially in the wake of the Holocaust? Do I want to be called an anti-Semite? Oh my God, no. So it's very effective. But, you know, it is important to talk about these issues, in my humble opinion. They wanted to silence us. And this is not good. Right? It's not good for Israel. It's not good for the United States. And I would argue in the end, if anything, it's going to foster anti-Semitism. I think you don't want to run around telling people that they can't talk about Israel without being called an anti-Semite. It's just not, it's not healthy. But I have a rather narrow definition of what a genocide is. And I don't think there are many cases that qualify as a genocide. The Holocaust certainly does. Okay. Now, what Hamas did doesn't even come close to what happened to European Jewry between, let's say, 1939 and 1945, although I date the start of the Holocaust to 1941, if we were, looking at it closely. But let's just say 1939 when they invade Poland. From 1939 to 1945, what Hamas did pales in comparison. It's hard to believe anybody would make that argument, right? Yes, a lot of Jews died, but hardly.
Careful, you're going to be an anti-Semite.
Hardly any compared to the number that died, at the hands of the Germans. I mean, it just no parallel at all.
So he's not wrong when he says that anti-Semite and the use of that word, just like racist, right? Is the Great Silencer. If you even, what he said, oh my God, I could hear all of them screaming, you're an anti-Semite. How could you even say that they don't conflate, Yeah, they have their Great Silencer words, and that definitely anti-Semite is one of them. Let's hear from the late Helen Thomas. I did not know this was her position.
Any comments on Israel? We're asking everybody today. Any comments?
Tell them to get the hell out of Palestine.
Ooh. Any better comments?
Remember, these people are occupied, and it's their land. It's not German. It's not Poland.
So where should they go? What should they do?
They go home.
Where's the home?
Poland.
So the Jews,
Germany.
You think Jews go back to Poland and Germany?
And America and everywhere else.
There you have it, Miss Battle Axe herself. I did not know that was her position. I was really shocked when I saw that. I always thought that Helen Thomas was, I know she would come after him. Let's see, what was the last administration she was really working in? The Obama administration, I believe. She was in her 90s, I want to say, before she was done, or late 80s before she left the White House. And she would hold them accountable on a lot of issues. And to hear her say that was a little shocking to me. I don't know about you guys, but are you shocked by that? I'm shocked by that. Come on, Dak, why are you being so slow? Did you guys see this Hasidic Jew getting thrown off a plane this weekend? Is this what's going to come? Is this the future? I think it might be, sadly.
Sir, how are you today? Everything good?
Mr. Hirsch?
The captain of the airline would like to remove from your staff. What did I guess? I'm sorry?
What do I get for that?
When we get outside, we'll talk to the airlines and try to help you out the best we can.
What do I get for that?
I don't know. It's up to the airlines. But when we get outside, we'll talk to them. Right. Well, the airlines are on board. They're out of the ticket counter. We'll help you out the best we can, but you have to get off the flight. Everybody wants you off the flight. Because the captain and the airline both have asked you to get off the flight. Well, one, I guess you were kind of rude and inconsiderate, but their reason's not important. That you don't have to.
Their reason's not important.
So they've
If
asked
they don't
you,
like
we're
you,
asking,
they can
the
throw
sheriff's
you
office
off.
is asking you as nice as we can, please come off the aircraft with us. Thank you. Thanks. Do you have any bags on the? That's not. Everybody got the cameras? Good cameras?
Absolutely. Good view. Got it? Got it? All right.
Yeah, there is something wrong with it. We're going to have to deal with it. Camera?
Now, we haven't heard why he was actually removed from that plane. I don't know. Was he being an ass to somebody? Maybe. Was he not? Maybe he had a Free Palestine sticker on his backpack. Who knows? But this is America. They can do whatever they want. But here's the ironic part is, you guys remember that motherfucker's not even real chick that was out there, Tiffany Gomez? I've been bringing you guys updates on this woman since it happened, right? Because it just was so odd. And so many people wanted to conflate with that guy's not real, that she saw maybe a shapeshifter or a lizard person. Well, she did a podcast about 10 days ago, and she pretty much admits that she didn't see anything. And this is what I think. And I'm going to bring you guys an update on this because I've got the video of it. I just couldn't add it into today's show. I think she was tripping balls on maybe a Matrix bar or something. And she's embarrassed to say what she saw. So who knows? But you know, the crazy part is they didn't arrest her at all. Like, you can see the video of her outside of the plane screaming that plane's gonna crash. You can't let that plane leave. Like, just being batshit crazy. She assaults some dude. They still don't arrest her. Like, total white girl, man. She got handled with kid gloves all the way out of the airport. Like, okay, just get a car and go home and go away. If that was anybody else, they would have been in fucking handcuffs. I mean, cost the airlines probably $30,000. They set that flight back 5 hours. Everybody missed their connecting flights, and they didn't even fucking arrest her. And TMZ is always at the airport when she shows up at the airport. A lot of people think that she's some kind of plant or cog. I don't know. I think that she knows marketing, and she's building off of the internet fame that she got. So just ironic, right? The white girl can do whatever she wants on a plane, but this guy, he's just sitting there minding his own business, watching a movie, and you got to go because maybe you were rude to somebody when you walked into the plane. This is Scott Ritter. This is Scott Ritter calling out Kirby. I think this is Scott Ritter calling out Kirby. Let's see. Oh, it didn't even. It didn't bring the big deck up. There we go. Show me the big deck. There we go.
It's time for everybody to get angry. Israel no longer gets a pass. This isn't about anti-Semitism. I'm not anti-Semitic. This is about calling out a regime, the Netanyahu regime, as a war criminal regime. And they must be recognized as such and treated as such. And I'm telling every Israeli pilot right now, we may not know your names because you're protected by the Israeli defense establishment, but we know the date you dropped your bombs. And one day justice will come to you because the records are clear. You climbed into a cockpit and you received an order and you executed that order, and you are responsible for the due diligence of the target that you're striking. You are responsible. And if you know that you're carrying out an act of violence as part of the indiscriminate bombing, the collective punishment of the Palestinian people, you have committed a war crime by definition, and you will be found out and you will be held guilty, just like every Israeli officer on the ground in Gaza right now. Hey, you battalion commanders, if you have snipers under your command and they're in schools shooting children, you're guilty.
Yep.
You're guilty. They're all guilty, and it's time we call them out for what they are. This is not a Jewish problem. The Jews are not to blame. Stop pointing the fingers at the Jews. This is about Zionism, political Zionism. This is about people who have taken political Zionism and they've turned it into this expression of a greater Israel. Eretz Israel. Show me anywhere an international law where the global community has green-lighted Greater Israel. Nobody has. It's only in the sick fantasy of the Israeli leaders who govern Israel today. And if you're an Israeli fighting for Israel, you're not fighting for the defense of Israel as defined by the United Nations, as defined by 1948 or even 1967. You are fighting for a greater Israel, which means that you are saying we encourage a war of aggression against all of our neighbors, not just the Palestinians.
Scott going off. He actually calls Kirby out in that, and he says, Kirby, you say there's no red line, because remember I brought you guys that clip last week. But there is a red line, and you've crossed it, and we're going to come for you, and the ICC is going to hold you accountable. Is the ICC going to hold them accountable? Well, there is a pool of lawyers that have now stepped up internationally, and they're screaming at the top of their lungs. Let's hear from the Lawyers Guild. I've hung out with the Lawyers Guild actually down at the border 5 years ago. They were pretty badass actually.
Breaking news. 300 lawyers volunteer to prosecute Israel for its crimes against Palestinians. French lawyer Gilles Devers took the initiative and mobilized in only 10 days an army of lawyers from many countries around the world, and said that they're able to mobilize 3,000 more if needed. They submitted a complaint to the public prosecutor on behalf of associations and unions committing genocide. And the Palestinian issue will be presented in all national and international courts. He also added that the doors are open for all those who want to testify against Israeli crimes. And he sent a beautiful message to Palestinians. You did not have anyone to defend you, but now you have an army in international and national courts. Things are moving forward, finally. This can't be found in mainstream media, therefore share as much as you can. Free Palestine.
This is Sparta!
Yeah, I'm glad to see the Lawyers Guild coming together internationally, and 3,300 lawyers coming at this. I would love to actually see something come from this. We know that America doesn't answer to and doesn't respond to the ICC. They haven't ever, right, in years past, because they know they're criminals, and if they call other people out for criminals, then they are criminals. But and this is a part of the TPP. You guys remember they were trying to get above these criminal courts. So that way, they when we were saying they're taking our sovereignty, if you go to these arbitrary courts or these corporations, because they were arbitrary corporations above, then there's no way to hold anybody accountable for anything, right? So that's why that was so important to kill, but they've snuck it into everything. They weaved it in. Biden's weaved it in. Trump weaved it in. That's what they do. But I'm so glad to hear it. I hope you guys are too. I'm going to keep an eye on that story because I think it's a really important story that somebody out there is holding them accountable for this genocide. I mean, did you wake up yesterday to see blown up children in your feed? I did. I saw a doctor holding an arm of a little dead baby. Did you see that one? I mean, every day my guts are ripped out. I know your guts are ripped out too. Who is going to hold these murderers responsible? And I'm hoping the Lawyers Guild steps up and does it, right? We're almost out of the Gaza section, but we got a lot more to talk about. One of these kids complained that her childhood was stolen. Aw, Greta, stop it. You still have a childhood. You get to jet set around the world, and I'm sure you eat good, fancy vegan foods. And let's see, The Nation says Israel's war on America's student activists. For years, Israel's on-campus coalition, a little-known organization with links to Israel's intelligence, Mossad, has used student informants to spy on pro-Palestinian campus groups. Yes, we know that's happening. That's exactly what they do. They got to grab them young to try to indoctrinate them, but TikTok's fucking destroying that for them. So good luck on your college campus there, Mossad. I think TikTok will outdo you in a heartbeat. Remember, Friday is Black Friday. Let's shut it down for Palestine. Do not shop at any major shopping. If you're going to go shop for Black Friday, it better be to support small businesses and use cash only. No credit cards, guys. No going to Walmart to get your flat screen TV. Let's be grown up about this. And here I brought the list of BDS And there's so many American disgusting corporations in here, right? You got Pizza Hut and McDonald's and Carl's Jr. and Starbucks and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Subway and Domino's and pretty much every American brand is on here. The ones that kind of shocked me that I still use are Knox, like the soup mixes. I really like the Knox soups, so I guess I'll stop buying those. Dove, I do use some Dove occasionally. Pantene occasionally. L'Oreal, that's a big one for me. I mean, a lot of my makeup that I like comes from L'Oreal, but they are an Israel-based company. So these are the companies you need to be boycotting, because how do we hurt them? We hurt them with the bottom line. We hurt them in their pocketbooks. That's the only language they know. And let's make it so for Christmas. Let's show them the worst Black Friday they've ever seen. I hope so. I mean, with the economy in the tank the way it is, the way inflation is, I don't see this being a very lucrative Christmas holiday season at all. And we'll see. I'm gonna check on Monday. We'll check Monday because of course Friday is Black Friday, and then you got Cyber Monday, right? So I'll keep an eye on how sales were for everything. Do you guys see this? Rosalind Carter passed away yesterday, which you know what that means. I'm sure Jimmy is going right after her. They did have that love story, right? And no, that is not her and Jimmy in the bottom. That is her and John Wayne Gacy. Remember him, the serial clown killer? Yeah. He was a Democratic PCO in the Democratic Party and a big-time Democratic fundraiser. Did you know that about John Wayne Gacy? I did. Rosalind Carter, is Henry Kissinger even in this thing? Yeah, that's the first thing you got to ask every time you hear somebody's passed. What the hell? Where is Kissinger? No Kissinger? I'm telling you, it's because Kissinger's got an artificial heart and he's not real, right? As she would say. That motherfucker's not even real. Yeah, we keep waiting for the fourth horseman of the apocalypse to go down. Who is it? Luke Wadowski cornered Kissinger and asked him, I want to say about his policy in Cambodia. Was it his policy in Cambodia? Anyways, and they acted like, oh my God, how dare you ask him if he's the fourth horseman of the apocalypse? That's a question all of us want to know. That's the way I look at it. Oh yeah, Jamie Raskin. I had to add this last minute this morning. This is just gross. Let's see. So you got Jamie Raskin. I was very disappointed to see what happened at the DNC over the weekend. I mean, I'm glad that there are young people and they're taking an interest in peace and social justice, but just don't do it to the Democrats, damn it.
What do you make of this as a Jewish American, a proud progressive, a Democrat? There's anti-Semitism in the Democratic Party these days.
No, there isn't.
I mean, there's anti-Semitism everywhere these days, as we were discussing with Elon Musk.
I don't believe there is.
I mean, we're talking about a problem that goes back thousands of years, obviously. I was very disappointed to see what happened over at the DNC the other day. I mean, I'm glad that there are young people who are taking an interest in peace and social justice, and those people I encourage. But for those who are somehow tempted to engage in Congress but doing it outside, I'm totally opposed to that. They should study the history of nonviolent movements in America.
Oh my God, wasn't that just vomit worthy? Oh, make you sick on a Monday morning. Shut up, Jamie Raskin. You're an idiot. 5 ways Democrats are coping with Biden's terrible polling. Let's see. Oz sent me some polling numbers this morning. I haven't had a chance to look at them. What does it say? Let's see. Overall prices. Oh, these are prices. I thought these were polling numbers, but these are shocking. Overall prices are up 17.4%. Rent is up 16.5%. Electricity is up 25%. And groceries are up 19%. So we'll just round these. We'll average these. 20, 15, 25. I mean, across the board, 75% across the board, everything's gone up. That's what that says. So Primo Radical says the Dems are coping with Biden's terrible polls by 1, Merlot. to Xanax. Oh, you know, there is some serious Xanax scripts on Capitol Hill. Denial. Yeah, they just deny it, right? This is their favorite way of coping. Privilege. Yeah, that's just their way of life. And smelling their own farts, which Oz and I use that saying quite a bit. Like, oh God, they're smelling their own farts. Oh, gross. So gross. Hey, did you guys see the feds were out marching around acting like neo-Nazis this weekend? Let's see. We gotta stem that hate one way or another. Why do they all wear masks? Because they're feds, that's why.
Look at these bumbling retards. Probably don't even know.
That's fucking cool.
We need Nazis, we got Zionists. I like the guy walking around saying, fuck the Nazis. That was pretty good. Who in their right mind thinks that these guys, come on, there had to be a couple of FBI plants in that group. You can't tell me there wasn't. We've seen this over and over and over and over. And like I said, who needs Nazis when you got Zionists? And Zionists, I don't conflate Zionists with Jews because like Joe Biden says, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. No, you're just a Zionist at the end of the day, right? I love Jews. I don't like Zionists. That's what it comes down to. The BBC is eyeing investigation. Nearly 20,000 men have fled the Ukraine to avoid being drafted. Yes, we are hearing reports that Ukraine is so desperate for fighters that they're putting pregnant fucking women on the front line. And the front line in Ukraine is very reminiscent of the front line during World War I. The trenches and tanks. That's what it's all been about. It's just a meat grinder. We've called it that forever. But are we shocked that they're fleeing the country so that way they don't get sacrificed out there? Yeah, that was Madison, Wisconsin, Kate. That was Madison. I'm not shocked to see this. If you're paying attention to what's going on in Ukraine still, they're desperate. And remember when Biden said that he was going to pass no budget that didn't include money for Ukraine? Well, that didn't happen, did it? He passed a budget, and it didn't include any money for Ukraine. Because how are they going to stop this Ukrainian conflict, war, whatever you want to call it? They're going to starve it now. They're going to starve it, and then they're going to give that actor Zelensky his walking papers, and it's time to go. Bye-bye. You served your purpose. You slaughtered hundreds of thousands of your own countrymen, and now we're going to go make a deal with Putin. And BlackRock and Blackstone and all of these others can come in and rebuild your country for you because that's how money gets made. That's the future I see for Ukraine. Very, very sad that Americans egg that shit on. We rooted that shit on. We gave our tax dollars for that shit to happen, right? And who do you have to blame? The Biden administration. And I see all these fucking people out there boo-hooing now like, oh, I shouldn't have voted for Biden. Cardi B yesterday dropped a video. I didn't bring it because who cares to see that shit? But she's out there like, I'm pissed off. I've had it. We voted for these guys and this is what they give us. We warned you. We told you a vote for Joe Biden was a vote for war. We told you a vote for Joe Biden was going to take us down this road. But you guys wanted to do the lesser evil shit with us. Oh my God, Trump's so evil. Well, it's funny because the same people now are saying they're going to vote for Trump. You see Michael Rappaport out there. I'm going to vote for Pig Dick. That's where we're at. That is where we're at. But you guys couldn't have figured that out 3 years ago before we got taken down this road. I got no sympathy for the people that are crying about Biden right now at all. Biden's the Nord Stream pipe bomber, and we know it, right? We have called it out since day one. Well, now they're trying to throw a Ukrainian special ops group under the bus and say, well, we didn't know anything about it. We didn't tell them they could do it. They decided to do it on their own. And I told you guys about this 2 weeks ago when a little blurb showed up that they had a scapegoat. I knew they had a scapegoat, and here's their scapegoat. Oh, let's see. There we go.
From a close ally that the Ukrainian military had planned a covert attack on the undersea network using a small team of divers who reported directly to the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian armed forces.
They don't have diapers.
And now,
We do.
even more evidence that our instincts were right. In a follow-up report, a senior Ukrainian military officer with deep ties to the country's intel services played a central role in the bombing. Roman Cherveninsky managed logistics and support for a 6-person team that rented a sailboat under false identities and used deep-sea diving equipment to place explosive charges on the gas pipelines.
From the Navy SEALs?
That in the Washington Post. Joining me now, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, now, if this is true, it looks like it is.
Oh, that cut off fast. Let's see. Thought it would go a little longer. Is that the full clip? I don't know. Either way, they're going to blame it on some special ops unit and the Ukraine, and the United States didn't know anything about it, and we didn't approve it. But hey, Russia did it, right? Russia always blowing up their own infrastructure. It's so terrible about that. Just to follow up, we knew Biden was the bomber, right? This is RT. What is this? I guess we'll watch it together. Oh, okay. This is more on the Nord Stream pipeline.
We're definitely seeing a shift, though, aren't we, Avshin? There's been a major shift in the West reporting on the Ukrainian conflict in the last year. Why do you think that is?
Well, of course, what's worrying about that is it really does seem to suggest that there's a degree of mind control over all so-called journalists, some say stenographers in NATO nation media. The fact is, their initial pronouncements that they got obviously from sources telling them in the intelligence services of NATO countries that it must be Russia. The fact is that they may be turning on that. They're turning on the war itself. NBC News in the past few days telling us that there was a stalemate, according to General Zaluzhny, which Zelensky is now despairing about. But Cy Hirsch told me, why on earth would a Ukrainian Secret Service agent
On here, why are
take down the Nord Stream, which was vital to Western European energy resources, not to anyone else. Let's not forget there are 2 pipelines currently that Russia supplies energy through to Europe that go through Ukraine. Russia pays the Zelensky government for energy resources, 1 diesel, 1 gas, so Cy Hirsch just told me. So the idea that a Ukrainian Secret Service agent would go and blow up the Nord Stream pipeline when they could be blowing up pipelines from Russia in Ukraine shows how absurd not only the story is, the story perhaps coming out of the CIA is, and the story that the Amazon Washington Post is printing.
When it